started to show slightly. I thought I was going to die because of this cute little thing called round ligament pain. Hey guys, we are doing our pregnancy update because we failed to update you weekly. So I am 33 weeks, basically tomorrow, and we failed. So sorry. So this is going to be a major overview of the pregnancy journey so far into the 3rd trimester. I am starting to very much show. So when you guys saw us putting together the stroller, you probably saw that one, we changed clothes, so sorry, another day. I am starting to show, and he's having fun with the whole belly button thing, because apparently when my belly button pops, I'm ready.
I know, I told her, I said, I wish there was a countdown to when we knew, like, we could time it to watch the belly button just...
I think you can tell right now.
Just pop out, because it's almost there. I've never seen the inside of a belly button. I don't know who has, but it's a pretty exciting moment for us. I mean, you know, we get bored.
That's the excitement of our life. To start off, the 1st trimester, we did not really know. We found out at 2 months because I was going to, you know, I don't know if you guys ever do this for fun, but I just, you know, a little pregnancy test sprinkled out here and there through your life. But
yeah,
the one I took was positive. So I took another one real quick and I was like, oh, well, this is turning fast. Like the little 2 lines, there's one of the, I guess, paper ones, and it just turned really fast because it's like, you know, do it, and then it's like, boom. I was like, oh, I don't think that's supposed to happen.
She came in, it was like a Sunday morning, and she came in at about 8 or 8:30 in the morning. Normally Sunday mornings are when we sleep in, you know, before getting out to church and all. And so she came in there and woke me up and was like, oh, hey, I'm pregnant. And the funny thing is, we're big practical jokers, so I don't know when she's being serious. She doesn't know when I'm being serious. And so she's like, oh, I'm pregnant. And I'm like, oh, cool.
Okay.
And then I fell back asleep. we need a new mattress. I'm not getting good sleep, and so I didn't get a good night's sleep. I'm like, okay. So then I wake back up, and she's like, no, I was being serious. I took a second test, and it's positive. And then I'm like, oh well, you know, tests, it can be a false positive, whatever. And I think the third test she did, it popped within like, you're supposed to wait a little bit of time,
So you're
right?
supposed to wait like 3 or 5 minutes, one of the two. And then when I did it, even before I got done, it was like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
I think this is definitely a thing. So then we called my doctor, and they were like, okay, well here, just come on in. Like, so after because I did like a little pre-ultrasound thingy-majig, and
That was like a few months out, or 2 months out, right?
Yeah,
because they couldn't see you for a long time.
Well, I was already 2 months by the time I got to the doctor, and by the time I pretty much found out.
Because I remember we were leaving Sprouts, and she called and told you basically, hey, these are the numbers, or these are the levels of the hormone, the pregnancy hormone or something in your body.
So here's the thing, because I was like, no, it's not, I don't know, whatever. So before the OB appointment, I went and took a blood hormone test, and it was like, oh yeah, if you fall in between this and this range, you should be this much far along. So it was basically saying I was 2 months along, and then we went and got it confirmed. So then the hormone test, the blood test was actually pretty accurate, because I was basically 2 months along. Then once they told me, I think it was my brain told my body like, oh, now you're pregnant, you should start having all these symptoms. So not really eating, not knowing what to eat, everything made me sick, and I could basically only eat crackers and drink lemon water. That's how I got through. And then towards the end of the second trimester into the third, I finally evened out with the food. But by that time, I'd already lost about 30 pounds or so.
Yeah, she lost weight pretty quickly, and I was like, this is like
when I met you weight.
Yeah, this is like a movie I saw one time where I don't know if it was the TV series Resurrection. You know what it reminded me of?
It was Under the Dome, right?
Bella. That's
Guys,
what it reminded
Twilight.
me of. And Bella's pregnant, and that's what she started to look like, minus the veins and stuff. But she started looking really skinny, and I was like, oh, the baby is eating you. And then, false alarm, because then she didn't really have much of an appetite in the second trimester. But then, as we got through the second trimester, you started getting an appetite, tearing up them chicken wings.
Yeah, but now I'm kind of back to like, oh, everything's making me sick. So, like I said, I'm in the third and final trimester, so everything's making me sick.
Acai was a bad night.
Yeah. And then I'm back to almost really not knowing what to eat.
Had her hands and feet were itching uncontrollably in the second trimester, to the point to where she couldn't hardly wear shoes. She'd have to take them off and scratch her feet. And you tried what? Creams, Benadryl,
yeah,
all that.
Zyrtec, all that. And then I finally went to the dermatologist, and they were like, oh, it might be PUP, which is, I guess, similar, or some other one that you get, like, oh, your skin's just stretching. No, because I wasn't even showing them. And he was like, oh, well, I've concluded that it's aqua urticaria with something in between that's scientific. But basically that is...
allergic to water.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that's true, because I am perspiring more, so I guess...
But your body's 70% water, right? So...
Well, so that's it's like a contact dermatitis, because technically it's an internal system, because you're not really leaking water, because that would be weird.
Sometimes I leak water.
Everything's kept internal. But
I'm leaking water right now.
You are technically he's leaking water.
I was supposed to get a haircut too, so all this extra thick hair up here is giving me that sports gloss look. So.
But this was like a kind of jumbo overview of what we've experienced. I don't think have I missed anything? Oh yeah, well I guess ultrasounds. So I had my first ultrasound in the first trimester, a secondary in the second, which is to confirm the gender and
the date when they said you would. Was it the first visit that they said when it's due?
Yeah, they calculated it.
Or did they say the second one?
They calculated it based off of like, oh, it's in there, just there kind of thing. And then, so they gave me a date of October 2nd. and then the second one was to get measurements, and then the third one we just had. Well, the second one was to get measurements and to see like are they developing right kind of thing, and then the third one in the third trimester, which we just had, was to confirm that still everything's physically good.
I went with her to all her appointments, and I didn't realize that you can't go back at every appointment. You can't go back the entire appointment. So I just met her doctor on this past weekend's appointment. She's 33 weeks. I just met him. One thing to keep in mind that I realized in this journey was that whenever I go with her to her appointments, I can't always go back the full duration of the appointment. I'll sit out in the waiting room, or they'll tell me, hey, we want to see her first, and then you can come back afterwards. So like for the first ultrasound, she went back there, and I didn't even get to go back there and see the ultrasound or anything. She texted me a photo, and I was like, why'd you do that? But they didn't let me go back there. Now, the second time around, they let me go back, do the ultrasound, the whole, what you see on TV where you're sitting there and they're doing the heartbeat and all that, and you get to hear the heartbeat. That is what we were able to do as a couple, but you can't photo, you can't video or anything. The nurse who was doing the ultrasound did tell me that I could record the heartbeat on my phone, but she would let me know when. She didn't want me to record her doing all the measurements and all that stuff. I don't know why. I think it's just a safety thing. Anyway, so we respectfully didn't, film or do anything like that while we were back there. But we did film the heartbeat. You could hear that on the.
Oh yeah, it was cool. And then the third time we did it, she let him come back as well.
Yeah.
But also another thing is they may or may not tell you this, but depending on who's on call when you actually go into labor, may or may not be your doctor. And then two is when you get further along, like for my visits, I would just say, oh yeah, I'm doing good. And then he'd be like, okay, cool, good. And then that'd be it. So your whole, like, you may think you might get this long drawn out appointment of like, let me go and talk through all this. No, if you say you're pretty much good, then it's kind of like, okay, good, cool.
Yeah.
All right, see you 3 weeks from now.
Bye.
And then the final thing was when you start to get to your third trimester, your appointments start to get closer and closer. So like for mine, they were at 2 months apart, then they were like 1 month, now they're every 2 weeks, and then they skip to, I think it's once you hit 36 weeks, they skip to every week leading up.
Yeah.
And then there's some classes, so check your local hospital with, if you registered, whichever hospital you register at, there's local classes, which we're not taking yet, but we did sign up. YouTube. And Google will help us raise this child.
Well, and we've also got some old school family members around us who are telling us, hey, here's how you do this. Oh, you're fine. I did it without an epidural, blah, blah, this. So we're kind of like, oh, cool.
We're just playing it like...
Cool. Getting a lot of advice from a lot of people, and everybody's got a different story, and everybody's pregnancy is different from what I've heard. I've never been pregnant, so I don't know. But
Me
I'm saying,
either, so.
But if it's just interesting to hear everybody's different stories. What people love to eat when they were pregnant. Like she ate gumbo yesterday, and apparently the baby did not like the gumbo or it affected him some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. So
it's a boy, by the way. Did we say that?
Oh yeah, it's a boy.
Yeah.
So one more thing real quick, and then we'll finish up. There was something that happened in the second trimester. It's called round ligament pain. And boy, was that I thought that I was going towards the white light. Because
those ligaments
yeah. So basically that's just your body getting ready, stretching for it to start growing, which
new band name, I call it the round ligaments.
# round ligaments. Which is actually when I started to ever so slightly show was that night. I think that's related to that. But
the doctor gave her a list, a big packet of things like if you have heartburn, take this, and these are all the things you should do, kind of like a little crash course, entry level, like, hey, these are all the do's and don'ts and blah, blah, whatever. And if you have certain pain or whatever, here's what you can do to kind of assess what it is. Stay away from WebMD and all that. Just they give you like a little note thing to do. But you can also, he also gave her a number of a 24-hour on-call doctor, which we actually called, and within 5 minutes they called us back and told us exactly what to do for her to alleviate. And they said, this is round ligament pain. do this, do that. Call if you need us if it gets any worse, or if her body tells her that it's worse, or if your body tells you that something's up. They said don't hesitate to go to the. I don't think she said the ER. I thought she said like the labor and delivery.
Yeah.
Is that separate from the regular ER?
I think it's well. So for ours, I think it's housed in the same spot, but I don't know because obviously we haven't done this yet. But I think you go to the emergency room and then they send you up to like labor and delivery. But yeah, like he said, so if your doctor gives you a packet, obviously follow those instructions. And then the other thing is we need to pick out a pediatrician because apparently after the baby's born, they come to the hospital and do the checkup. So
good to know.
Yeah, I did not know that. I know it's towards the end, but we're gonna try and update you regularly.
It hasn't been there hasn't been a lot going on other than, finishing up, trying to get the house ready because we're also
This is the only thing that we have so far besides some clothing. Like we said, YouTube and Google.
And we're trying to also, we were in the middle of flipping our house when this happened. So it's kind of like, now we have to put a rush on the stuff that may need to just be brought up to a safety level for a child to be walking around in here. But we do have a couple years before he's walking too.
Exactly.
So technically we don't need a floor in the kitchen yet.
Exactly. Oh, actually, there is some cool stuff coming up. You guys, so we have the aquarium coming up.
Georgia Aquarium.
We may have a beach or apple trip coming up, which is very different, but I know it's one's not.
I know the apple orchards just opened up in North Carolina, I believe, is where we went last time. Got about 48 days until fall, and so hopefully
nobody's counting.
We start to get Hopefully soon we can go to an apple orchard, and I want to go to an apple orchard when it's really nice and cold. I've got apple cider donuts for the first time last year. I don't know if we talked about that or did it, but we're gonna definitely vlog this trip that we take. We went to Skytop Orchard before. And so I want to go to Granddad's Apples and Such is one we haven't been to yet. If we can't go there, we'll just go back to Skytop. And then, but I want to try each one and then figure out which one we like the most. And that can kind of be our tradition every year. We've got a winter trip coming up, TBD. We've got
the birthday.
I've got a birthday surprise planned for her, which we will film, which will be pretty awesome. And then, who knows, maybe
and
one or two.
And then the actual birth.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Not for me, probably, but
and I'll film it
for you.
I'll wear a GoPro into the room, and then also probably a few trips to Covington.
Oh yeah.
Because they're supposed to be doing some meetups and stuff there, and also there's a couple national parks we want to go to.
Yeah, Congaree might be next week. So stay tuned for those. But for this vlog and this update, I know it was kind of all over the place, but everybody's journey is different, and always listen to your doctor. Obviously, we aren't giving medical advice because, we use Google and the doctor. But with that being said, we will be back next week, so make sure to tune in.